My sister handed me a lease renewal and smiled. $6,800 per month. Triple what I'd been paying for the same apartment. She leaned against my doorframe like she owned the place. "Don't take it personally," she said. "It's just business." I looked at the number again, then at her face. She had no idea who she was really talking to. Ever watch someone realize they just threatened the wrong person? That moment when confidence turns to confusion, then drains into something close to panic? I stayed quiet, calm, because I had a folder on my desk she'd never seen. And in about 72 hours, she was going to understand exactly what happens when you mistake silence for weakness. But let me back up, because this didn't start with a rent hike. It started the way these things always do, with a family that never saw me coming. Real quick, where are you watching from, and what time is it there? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious where this story finds you. And if you're even a little bit interested in where this goes, hit that like button now. Trust me, you'll want to see the receipts. Growing up, my sister was the golden child. Straight A's, dance team. The one who got the car at 16 and the co-signed apartment at 20. I was the quiet one. The one who left at 18 with a duffel bag and didn't look back. No drama, no big fight. I just knew I'd never be seen in that house, so I stopped trying. I worked nights at a call center and took community college classes during the day. Business, accounting, real estate fundamentals. Boring stuff, useful stuff. A manager at the call center, David, saw something in me. He'd made his money flipping small commercial properties in his 30s. He became a mentor. Taught me how to read a cap rate, how to structure an LLC, how to buy quietly and operate quietly. Most people want everyone to know they're winning, he used to say. Smart money stays anonymous. I saved everything I made. Lived small, watched, learned. By 25, I'd joined a real estate investment firm doing acquisitions. 7 years of cold calls, site visits, and spreadsheets that would make your eyes bleed. But I was good at it. Really good. 2 years ago, I moved into a clean one-bedroom in a mid-rise downtown. Nice building. Older but solid bones. Rent was $2,200 a month. Reasonable for the area. What my family didn't know, what nobody knew, was that I'd bought the building 16 months earlier. 68% equity. Managing member of the LLC. I hired a property management company to handle day-to-day operations. Rent collection, maintenance, tenant communication. I stayed anonymous. It was cleaner that way. 6 months ago, my sister applied for a job with that management company. Property manager position. I saw her name on the approval list. I could have said no. Could have told them it was a conflict. But I thought, maybe this is an olive branch. Maybe managing a building, being responsible for something real, would humble her a little. I approved the hire through back channels. She never knew. And here's the thing about me. I keep every email, every filing, every receipt. It's reflex now. You grow up overlooked, you learn to document everything, just in case. She knocked on my door on a Tuesday evening. All business. Clipboard in hand. "Hey," she said. Not warm. Not cold. Transactional. She slid the paper across my kitchen counter. New lease terms? Renewals coming up, and we're doing a market rate adjustment. I looked at the number. $6,800. I blinked. Read it again. That's triple what I'm paying now. She nodded. Yeah, you've honestly had it too easy. Comparable units are going for $7,000, even $7,500 in this neighborhood. I kept my voice level. Does ownership know about this increase? She actually laughed. I am management, she said. I don't need permission for standard lease renewals. That's literally my job. I asked, and you're doing this across all units? Select units, she corrected. The ones where we've been leaving money on the table. Yours is one of them. It's nothing personal, it's revenue optimization. There it was. The language she'd learned in some weekend seminar. Revenue optimization. I folded my arms. What if I can't afford it? She shrugged. Then I'll post the unit. I already have a wait list. Studios here are going for $7,000 easy. So I have 30 days. Sign by this Friday, she said, tapping the paper. Or I post it Monday. Your call. I looked at her. She looked back. Confident. Certain. She thought she had all the leverage. I'll think about it, I said. She picked up her clipboard. You've always been slow to face reality, she said on her way out. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. The door clicked shut. I stood there for a long moment. Then I walked to my filing cabinet. I ran the numbers that night. Could I afford $6,800 a month? Technically, yes. Would it be sustainable? No. Would it be fair? Absolutely not. But fairness doesn't show up on a lease. I loved that apartment. Loved the neighborhood. The light in the mornings. The coffee shop 2 blocks down. I could move. Find something smaller, cheaper. But that's what she expected. That's what she'd always expected. Me shrinking to fit someone else's plan. And for about 6 hours, I actually considered it. Not because I had to. Because it felt easier than confrontation. I thought about selling the building quietly. Cashing out. Disappearing again. The same way I'd left at 18. I sat at my kitchen table and remembered being 16. My sister had taken $1,100 from my savings account, money I'd earned working weekends at a grocery store. She called it a loan. Said she'd pay me back in a month. She never did. And when I brought it up, my parents said, "She's going through a hard time. Be the bigger person." I was always supposed to be the bigger person, which really just meant the quieter one. I opened my laptop, pulled up property listings in neighboring towns, smaller places, ones where I wouldn't run into her in the hallway. Then I stopped. I looked at the filing cabinet across the room. Inside was the deed, the LLC operating agreement, the purchase contract. And I realized I wasn't that kid anymore. I didn't have to run. She was about to remember why. I pulled the folder. Inside, the original purchase agreement. The LLC operating documents, the title transfer, all dated 18 months ago. I was listed as the managing member, 68% equity stake. The building, her workplace, my home, was mine. I flipped to the management company's contract, the one they'd signed when I hired them to run operations. Section 4, subsection 3, rent increases above 8% annually required written approval from ownership. 8% would have been about $176. She'd gone up $4,600. That's a 340% violation of the terms she was supposed to follow. I pulled out my phone, called my real estate attorney. "Hey, Marcus, quick contract question." He listened, asked for photos of the documents. I sent them. He called back in 20 minutes. "She exceeded her authority," he said. "By a lot. And if she's doing this without the management company's knowledge, they're liable too." What if she is doing it with their knowledge? Then they're in breach of your contract. Either way, you're covered. I thanked him. Hung up. I sat back. That was receipt number 1. Proof that she'd overstepped. Proof that I had standing. But I didn't move yet, because I needed to know if this was ignorance or malice. I needed her to show me exactly who she was. So I waited, and she didn't disappoint. Friday came and went. I didn't sign. The following Tuesday, I came home from work to find a notice taped to my door. Notice to vacate, lease violation. It claimed I had an unauthorized occupant. I read it twice. My friend Jordan had stayed on my couch for 2 weeks the previous month while her apartment was being fumigated. I'd mentioned it to the front desk. Got verbal approval. Now it was a lease violation. My neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, saw me reading it in the hallway. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Is everything all right?" I folded the notice. "Yeah, just a misunderstanding." But it wasn't. That night, my sister sent an email to the building's tenant list. Subject line, building improvements and updated standards. She wrote that previous management had been too lenient, that she was correcting inconsistencies and ensuring lease compliance across all units. She didn't name me. She didn't have to. Then my phone buzzed. Family group chat. My sister had posted, "Some people never grow up. Still dodging responsibility and living beyond their means. Prayers appreciated." My mom replied with a heart emoji. My dad texted me privately. "Just pay what she's asking. Keep the peace. It's not worth the fight." I didn't respond. The next day, I got a call from Mrs. Alvarez again. "Someone came by to show your apartment this morning," she said. "While you were at work? I thought you should know." My sister was showing my unit to prospective tenants. While I still lived there, I sat in my car in the parking garage and took 3 long breaths. She wanted a spectacle. I'd give her clarity instead. I called Marcus again. "I need discovery," I said. "Email records. Anything between her and the management company about rent increases." "You're the owner," he said. "You don't need discovery." You can just request the records. So I did. He sent a formal records request to the management company on my behalf. Owner's right to audit. They complied within 48 hours. And that's when I found it. An email chain, 6 weeks old. My sister to her supervisor, proposing aggressive rent adjustments on underperforming units. I recommend we start with Unit 4F, family occupant, low pushback risk. Sets a precedent for the rest of the portfolio. Unit 4F. That was mine. She'd targeted me specifically. Called me low pushback risk because I was family. But it got worse. Attached to the email was a rent roll analysis. She'd submitted it to justify the increases. I pulled the actual market comps. The real ones. She'd inflated them. By 19%. She'd falsified the data to make her case look stronger. That wasn't a management decision. That was fraud. Marcus saw it too. This is breach of fiduciary duty, he said. She misrepresented material facts to ownership, you, and to her employer. If they acted on this data for other units, the liability spreads. I stared at the email. Her words. Her numbers, her plan. She didn't just break the lease. She broke the law. And she had no idea I could see everything. I asked Marcus to dig a little deeper. Not out of spite. I needed to understand. Why target me? Why risk so much? He ran a background check. Legal. Standard due diligence for employment disputes. What he found explained everything. My sister had $47,000 in credit card debt. A car lease in default. 2 missed payments. A personal loan from a peer-to-peer lender at 18% interest. She was drowning. But that wasn't all. Marcus found a rider in her employment contract. A performance bonus clause. She earned 12% commission on any rent increases she generated above a 5% baseline. 12%. My rent hike alone, $4,600 a month, would net her an extra $6,700 a year. If she pulled it off across 10 units, she'd clear $70,000. That was her plan. I wasn't her sister in that moment. I was quota. I sat with that for a while. She wasn't cruel for cruelty's sake. She was desperate. And she'd looked at me, the sibling she'd always dismissed, always underestimated, and thought, easy target. She assumed I was still the kid who didn't push back, who took the loss and stayed quiet. She assumed I had no leverage, no resources, no proof. I closed the file. Now I knew exactly what to do. And it didn't involve revenge. I sent Marcus a single email. Let's do this correctly. He drafted 2 documents. First, a formal notice to the management company. I identified myself as the majority owner and directed them to cease all unauthorized actions related to Unit 4F and any other units affected by the falsified rent analysis. Second, an invitation. I scheduled a meeting. Monday morning, 10 a.m. building conference room. Attendees, my sister, her supervisor, and me. Subject line, Unit 4F lease dispute and employment matter. I didn't warn her. Didn't argue over text. Didn't give her time to prepare a story. I just sent the calendar invite. She replied within an hour. Fine, this should be quick. I almost laughed. I spent the weekend preparing. I printed every document. Purchase agreement. LLC operating docs. Her emails. The falsified rent roll. Her employment contract with the bonus rider. I put them in a folder. Clear sleeves. Organized by reveal order. Professional. Calm. Airtight. Sunday night, I looked at the folder on my kitchen counter. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't scared. I was just done. Done shrinking. Done explaining. Done being the bigger person by staying smaller. I rehearsed it once in my head. Not the words, I didn't need a script. Just the feeling. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to gloat. I was going to show her the math. And let the numbers do the rest. Monday morning. 10 a.m. I arrived 5 minutes early. Set the folder on the table, sat down. Marcus sat beside me. Quiet. Professional. My sister walked in with her supervisor, a man named Kevin. Mid-50s. Looked tired. She saw me and smiled. The kind of smile that says, let's get this over with. She sat across from me. Kevin opened. So, what's this about? I slid the folder across the table. I'm the majority owner of this building, I said. You're meeting with your landlord. Silence, my sister's face didn't move. Not at first. Then her eyes dropped to the folder. Kevin opened it. First page, the purchase agreement. My name, managing member, 68% equity, Second page, the LLC operating documents. Date stamped 18 months ago. Kevin looked up at me, then at my sister. You didn't know? He asked her. She didn't answer. I continued. I bought this building a year and a half ago. She was hired 6 months later. I approved it. I thought property management might be a good fit. I turned to the next document. This is her employment contract. Section 4, subsection 3. Rent increases above 8% require owner approval. Kevin nodded slowly. She increased my rent by 340%. Without approval, without authority. I pulled the next page. This is an email she sent 6 weeks ago, proposing aggressive rent hikes. She specifically named my unit. Called me low pushback risk because I'm family. Kevin read it. His jaw tightened. I showed the last document. And this is the rent analysis she submitted to justify the increases. I pulled the real comps. She inflated the numbers by 19%. I let that sit. She committed fraud. Against me, against you, against every tenant whose rent she adjusted based on false data. Kevin closed the folder. He looked at my sister. Did you do this? She finally spoke. You set me up. Her voice was quiet, tight. I shook my head. I gave you a job. You chose what to do with it. Kevin exhaled. We'll accept any terms you propose, he said to me. Immediately. I'd already decided. She resigns. Today. I won't file a criminal complaint if she leaves quietly. You roll back rent increases on all affected units and fund it from your error reserve. And she gets a neutral reference letter. That's it. Kevin nodded. Done, my sister stood. You've always been vindictive, she said. I looked at her. No, I said. I've always been thorough. She left without another word. Kevin apologized. Signed the agreement. Shook my hand. And that was it. The meeting lasted 11 minutes. 3 weeks later, my sister moved out of state. She took a corporate leasing position in another city. I didn't ask where. I didn't need to know. I kept my word. No criminal complaint. No public call-out. She got her neutral reference letter. What she did with it was up to her. The management company reformed their commission structures. No more performance bonuses tied to rent hikes. They also implemented an approval workflow. Any increase over 5% now requires written owner sign-off. I rolled my rent back to $2,200. Then I froze increases across all 32 units for 2 years. Word spread. Tenants started calling me the quiet landlord, the one who actually cared. I wasn't trying to be a hero. I just wanted to run the building right. Mrs. Alvarez baked me cookies, left them at my door with a note that said, "Thank you for staying." I kept the note. My parents didn't take it well at first. My mom called me, said I'd aired family business, made my sister look bad. I didn't argue. I just sent them the email chain, the falsified documents, the fraud. They went quiet after that. My dad sent a one-line text 2 months later. You did what you had to. That was the closest I'd get to an apology. And that was fine. I didn't need them to understand. I needed them to stop asking me to shrink. 6 months after the meeting, I sent my sister a text. Hope you're doing better. Boundaries aren't punishment. They're clarity. She didn't reply. And that was okay too. I'm still in Unit 4F, still managing the building quietly. I even started a tenant hardship fund. $15,000 seeded from surplus reserves. If someone loses a job or has a medical emergency, they can apply for temporary rent assistance. No drama, no spectacle, just documents and boundaries. Because here's what I learned. Power isn't about who can hurt who. It's about who can stay calm and keep receipts. My sister thought silence meant weakness. She was wrong. Silence just meant I was paying attention. And when you pay attention, you see everything. The emails, the numbers. The moment someone stops seeing you as a person and starts seeing you as a target. And when that moment comes, you get to decide. Revenge or boundaries? I chose boundaries. And I've slept better ever since. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had to set a boundary with family when money was involved? How did it go? Was it worth it? Drop your story in the comments. I read everyone. And if this hit home, if you believe documentation beats drama every single time, go ahead and subscribe. I break down real-life power moves every week. No yelling. No revenge fantasies. Just receipts, resolve, and the quiet win. Next story drops Friday. Thanks for watching. And remember, this is a fictionalized dramatization for entertainment purposes, not legal or financial advice. Always consult a professional for your specific situation. Stay sharp, stay documented. I'll see you in the next one.